Hello, everybody. This is Mallory Grimste, your teen therapist from Woodbridge, Connecticut, and I'm so excited to be testing out this new platform. It's called Be Live. I actually tried it a few years ago when I interviewed Megan Trennick-Huss for her involvement in the school anxiety workshop a few summers ago. And at the time, it was like a little glitchy, but it looks like and sounds like they may have fixed something. So we'll just give it a try and see how it goes. I like how, like, along the bottom here, or I guess it's this way, it gets this mirror image this way. I can put cool little tidbits for you all to kind of pinpoint or highlight what I'm saying. So today, I'm so excited to have you join me for Ask a Teen Therapist with me, Mallory Grimste, from MalloryGrimste.com, and from my practice in Woodbridge, Connecticut. And I changed it up a little bit today. Today, I'm out in my waiting area and seeing how that looks and feels. So tell me if you like it out here or if you like it better in the treatment room behind me. All right. So if you're here catching this on the replay, thank you for joining us later. If you're here now, welcome. Let me know that you're here. Give me a like or a comment or something so I know you're here, even if it's later, because otherwise I have no idea. I have no idea if you guys like this or no. All right, so we're going to get started in just a moment. But first, I have to go over a little mini disclaimer. All right, so this information today is being provided to you, as always, for your educational and informational purposes only. It is being provided to you to educate you about the topics being discussed and as a self-help tool to be used as your, let me say that again. It is to educate you about the topics being discussed and as a self-help tool for your own use. It is not psychotherapy or counseling. This information is to be used at your own risk based on your own judgment, and should you need to speak with a professional, you should go ahead and find one and contact a local one directly. Sorry, I say that so much and I just stumbled over my words there. Well, at least you guys know I am human, just like the rest of you. All right, today's question I got a few times. I actually got 3 questions, very similar, and it is, how did I become a teen therapist? So I can totally answer that. So there is the professional answer or the PC answer, which is like the actual how I became a teen therapist. Is, I went to college, I majored in sociology, no idea what I was going to do with that major. I ended up falling into an internship at the Sierra Center, so shout out Sierra Center. And if you're not familiar with the Sierra Center, it is a halfway house for men coming out of prison, and it was really exciting. I really loved it, and I came to find out that the field of social work was much larger and reached in many more capacities than I ever imagined. And so I decided at that point, the school that I went to, Quinnipiac, did not have a social work program. They do now, so shout out Quinnipiac. So I ended up deciding after a year of working that if I wanted to do the kind of work that I wanted to do, I had to go to grad school. So I went to grad school, got my master's in social work, completed my licensing hours, and eventually opened up my private practice. So that's a professional answer. So that's how I became a teen therapist. But when you guys ask me that, I don't think that's what you mean, because anybody can look up that process. It's not that hard, right? I think what you really are trying to ask me is, why did I become a teen therapist? And that's a very different question. That's a very personal question for me. So sometimes I keep it with the professional answer, and sometimes I will expose and give the real answer. So you all are in for a treat, because today I'm giving the real answer. The real answer is that I had no intentions ever of becoming a therapist. I was somebody who thought that people who went to therapy were really weird and really strange, and like I didn't need that. Like people who did that were like they were weak. I had very poor misconceptions about this. And even with that, I still ended up going down the social work track because I wanted to help people. And something that I don't often share about is when I was in high school and I was a teenager, my high school was very deeply affected by suicide contagion. And what that means is that when one person makes and completes a suicide attempt, it can inspire other people to do the same. And that was really scary. My senior year, there was one girl in particular that I wouldn't say that we were super close, but she was part of my friend group, and it shocked me and scared the poop out of me. And I remember feeling so shocked and alarmed that somebody could do that so close to me, and I had no idea. And I never wanted to feel that way again. And I sure as heck didn't want any other teen to feel that way. And so I always had this drive and passion that I wanted to help teens, teen girls in particular, uh, find the power to ask for help and be okay asking for help. Now I know, duh, that's what therapy is all about. But at the time, I didn't totally understand it. And so I had gone down the treatment track or the educational track of getting my master's in social work because I wanted to help these girls. But I still had like this crazy stigma about being a therapist and what therapy was. And like, ew, it wasn't for me. And then I landed myself in therapy. I had a job that was very intense and very stressful and went through a few supervisory changes. And the person who did end up supervising me was very different from my previous supervisor. And I had this very intense reaction to that, where I did end up going into counseling for myself. And it was going into counseling for myself that I had tried a few different therapists, and let me tell you, some of them were not for me. I had somebody who, I was in my early 20s and she pulled out a whiteboard and had me draw a heart on it. I was like, what is this? Like, I don't want to do this. I want to, figure out why I feel like crying all the time at work. And so it was like a really hard blow. And then I found a therapist who is amazing. And for my own privacy, I'm not going to share that name just in case I ever do need to go back to her. But she just allowed me the time and space to just cry. I always like held it together, and it was as soon as I would be sitting in her waiting room, and then I would, she'd come to the waiting room and say, "Oh, welcome, Mallory. Let's go back." And we'd walk down this little hallway to her office. And as soon as we crossed over into her doorway, I would just cry. I was a mess. And I would just cry and cry and cry. And she just let me. And it was the most freeing experience I had had as somebody who always tries to, keep it together, keep it professional. I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing, which is probably why I make a great therapist in some ways. She just let me be. No judgments, no trying to fix it. Just let me have my moment and cry. And she really encouraged me to consider, like, have you considered being a therapist yourself and going into counseling? And I was like, oh, no, not for me. And I told her all my reasons why. And it was through my therapy with this woman who just let me cry and let that be okay and let me feel my feelings, that it really inspired me to make some changes that really helped my life and made me realize that I could have a much larger, stronger impact on the community that I want to work with. And so it was several months after I completed therapy with her, I started looking into what is the process of opening a counseling practice. Can I do that? Is that like something that I could swing? Because they don't teach us anything about the business side of things in school. And an opportunity landed at my doorway, which allowed me to rent an office to test it out for 3 months, totally rent free. And then if it worked, I could pay rent. And if not, I would just call it quits. And I ended up slowly meeting more and more clients and falling more and more in love with this work. This is something that I never intended to do full time, and now it's something I can't imagine not doing. So that is the real answer. That is why and how I became a teen therapist. So thank you all for joining me today for Ask a Teen Therapist. Please be kind. That was very vulnerable for me. And I, if I'm expecting you all to be vulnerable and real with me, I have to do that for you too. So that is how and why I became a teen therapist. So if you have any questions or comments for me for the month of June, I am doing the Ask a Teen Therapist on these Facebook Lives at least once a week. Next week, I'm going to be answering 2 questions, so I'll be doing 2 lives. Haven't quite nailed down where and when in my schedule I'll do that, but I will let you know if you're on my mailing list, so get that update first. But the first question I'm going to ask, or I'm not going to ask, you guys have asked me, is my teen depressed? And then the next question I'm going to answer is my teen anxious or has anxiety? Those are 2 questions that I keep getting often, and so I'm just going to answer them for you. Obviously, I can't answer directly for you, but I'll answer a little bit for you. If you enjoyed this, I did want to let you know that right now summertime is approaching, and Teen Girls Therapy Group is accepting new members into both groups. I have the Monday night group and the Wednesday afternoon group at the moment. So if you're catching this later, that might not be accurate, but as of right now, June 14, 2018, I am accepting new members. And so if you want in, I've gotten a few calls. I'm starting to schedule those appointments. Please apply now before they fill. Each group is limited to 8 clients in the group. One of the groups is very small right now, so if your teen is wanting to just get their feet wet, that might be a good one to join. The other one only has 2 spots open. So please email me at help@MalloryGrimste.com and apply today. Thank you all for joining me, and I will catch you next week for another live Ask a Teen Therapist. Thank you all. Oh, I don't know how to end this. Oh, the big button that says end broadcast. All right, thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend, and I hope that we can all help each other feel better together.